Hello everyone, I'm James Milan. Welcome to the Town Hall Update. I am joined as always by our town manager Jim Feeney, who has made the trek from Town Hall up Mass Ave here to our studio, and we appreciate him being here. Thanks again. As always, Jim.
Happy to be here.
Always a pleasure to see you. We've got, it's rare that we have a themed Town Hall Update, but there's a certain theme here which has to do with the Recreation Department. So we're going to talk about several issues concerning activities in and around the Rec Department. For instance, we'll hear about a couple of public engagement opportunities related to Menotomy Rocks Park, Parallel Park. We've talked about this before. There's a new athletic court assessment report, I believe that is. And we'll start though, or I guess, and there's also going to be changes at the Recreation Department itself. So what should residents know about that?
Sure. So let's start there. As many people know, the Recreation Department has long time called the Ed Burns Skating Arena home. But with the recent departure of the Menotomy preschool from the Parmenter School Building, that presents the town, and especially the Arlington Recreation Department, the opportunity to find a new home for both their preschool and after-school programs, as well as the administrative offices that are currently housed sort of on the backside of the skating rink. So, you know, with the departure of the Menotomy preschool now occupying their new space at the Arlington High School campus, we can transition the rec department, which for some of its programs now share space at school buildings, as well as they also rent private storefront space on Mass Ave from a private landlord. So this provides them the opportunity to establish a sort of long-term home and base of operations, but especially they've long been restricted by the amount of square footage that they have, and this space that they'll be moving into is much larger, so they will be able to increase enrollment significantly in all existing programs, but also it will provide them the opportunity to consider expanding and offering new or diverse types of programming, especially for non-school age children during the school day. So, you know, the hope there, or the timeline, is that, you know, we have a little bit of work to do in the building to accommodate their very specific needs, but to open the 2024 school year starting in September at the location. So a very exciting time for the Recreation Department, which, as many of the public may know, is a self-sustaining enterprise, right? Their revenues come from fees, not necessarily from the taxpayer or the general fund budget, and that is what they use to sustain their operation and offer their programming. So any opportunity they have to expand their programming certainly helps on the revenue side, and you know, the town and its residents will benefit from their long-term occupancy in a historic town building that has some, you know, pretty significant capital needs, and having a revenue-generating operation in there could help the town offset some of the debt that may be associated with longer-term projects needed at that building, instead of having to pay rent elsewhere and not getting necessarily much in the way of a long-term return on that investment. So, the other exciting thing is the Park and Recreation Commission did just finish a playground renovation at that site, which is currently, being the beneficial use of the Arlington Children's Center, which remains on that site in the back building, but now the kid care programming will also benefit from that new playground that we have on site. So that is sort of the exciting news for Arlington Recreation, a big change for them, and I'm happy to have their administrative offices a little bit closer to Arlington's civic block. Not too often any of us from Town Hall find ourselves at the rink, but hopefully now some of those folks will be able to find themselves at Town Hall a little more readily. Yeah,
this seems like the best kind of domino effect that can happen. Menotomy preschool moves back in, or not back, moves into brand new wonderful facilities in the high school, clearing this space. Now the rec department can move in here and be there for a while. I'm glad you mentioned that ACC, Arlington Children's Center, is still in the back there. My children, our children went there. I remember it fondly. It's great to know that that will be there, and it can accommodate a not renovated, but kind of regenerated, respirited rec department. So
Yeah, should turn out well.
good, good. Let's talk about Menotomy Rocks Park and Parallel Park.
So yeah, we have those two park projects are in the design process. You know, this is often what happens during the winter or off season for recreation, right? Recreation never stops. They're just in the planning stage for other work to be done. So at the February 8th Park and Recreation Commission meeting, there will be the second design input sessions for both of the parks you mentioned. So at 6:30, they will take up Menotomy Rocks Park for approximately 1 hour, and then at 7:30, they will take up Parallel Park. You may recall at Menotomy Rocks Park, they're looking at making improvements to the play area and the picnic area, and then at Parallel Park, redesigning the playground and the general park area. So we're working with Copley Wolf as our design consultant on both of those projects, and information about both projects, as well as, you know, to review the first presentation, we invite folks to visit the town's website.
Great. Now there's an athletic court assessment, a final report, I guess, from that assessment. I'm curious about this because I really don't understand what that means. Please let me and us know.
Sure. So in calendar year 2023, the town engaged with a consultant, Activitas Inc., to do an athletic court assessment. And the report was finalized in the fall of last year. So what that did was it prioritized evaluating pickleball courts, tennis courts, and basketball courts. And the assessment that they conducted included 19 different locations in town and made final recommendations based on on-site assessments, what the recreational trends and use has been, as well as input from the public. Of those 19 facilities that Activitas reviewed, there were 5 that were identified as sort of priorities for either renovation or expansion. Those are Crosby Park, Buzzell Field Park, North Union Park, Spy Pond Park, and the Summer Street Park. So it sort of has laid out a roadmap of where we can do better and where we can do more and where we can sort of meet the changing landscape as it relates to athletic courts. Mm-hmm. So I know the Park and Recreation Commission, received this report, and then they're looking at ways to sort of figure out how we're going to fund this and when we're going to sort of undertake these various projects. And as it relates to, switching gears to some ongoing projects, I know, you and I, before we went live, we're talking about Robbins Farm. That playground renovation is underway. It's sort of on its winter hiatus while the ground is frozen and while we wait for sort of the slide and other equipment to get manufactured and come in for installation in the spring. And the Hills Hill mountain biking project is still in the design phase. So the project team is working with consultants, and they will be in a position to present conceptual designs at a second public input session. The date hasn't been determined yet, but we expect that to be happening sometime after the February school vacation.
Fair enough. And I think that wraps up the recreational part of our town hall update today. Let's move over right to the town part. We've got town census and town survey to talk about in whatever order you'd like. Let us know.
Thank you, James. Very true. Residents will be getting mail from the town, and that will include the 2024 townwide census. We do expect that to land in some folks' mailboxes this weekend, as early as this weekend, but largely early next week. So obviously, as we do every year, we invite residents to return it promptly to the clerk's office or to a ballot drop box, for which we have 3 in town. And you should do that whether or not you have any changes to your information in your household. You should return it either way. It's important to note that registered voters who do not return the census may become inactive and therefore will need to fill out a form the next time they go to vote. So that could present a bit of a hassle. Mm-hmm. And then the important part, at least for me as the town manager about the town census, is that getting an accurate count of everyone who lives here helps us with securing outside funding, especially from the sort of upper levels of government. So, you know, if I could just strongly encourage everyone to take the census, that helps in so many different respects, but especially with the town's bottom line in terms of funding. So, and if someone is new to town and therefore will not be receiving something in the mail, please, they can go to the town clerk's webpage, stop by the town clerk's office, and you know, they can get a form to fill out to get on the resident list for the future.
Yeah, you know, we've often noted on this program and others how good we are as a town at getting access to public funds for lots and lots of good projects to be done here. I'm glad that you've tied in how the census and responding to the census is really a key ingredient for that. So.
And then with that census mailing, as you alluded to, there will be an invitation to take the annual town survey. So that is conducted each year by what we know as Envision Arlington, formerly Vision 2020, I believe, but now sort of known more widely as Envision Arlington. So this year, residents can expect questions and to provide the town feedback on local tourism, energy, recycling and composting, equity, education, as well as a few other topics. The deadline for completion of the annual town survey is March 4th of this year. So please, that data and your responses are very helpful as we plan different programmings, you know, and try to look to what the future might hold in town. So.
You know, as you were listing those, you know, the different components that are going to be addressed in the survey, I'm thinking, oh, that checks a box of interest that I know about that people have. Oh, that's another one. That's another. There's some, you know, clearly the kinds of things that people are thinking about, talking about, et cetera. So hopefully, again, you get some good responses on that.
They are the hot topics.
They are the hot topics. So any other hot topics, or are we done here, Jim?
We are done here for today. Thank you very much.
All right. So has the town manager pronounced. So we will conclude. I have been speaking with Jim Feeney. He is our town manager for this town hall update. I'm James Milan. We appreciate Jim's time as we always do, and we appreciate yours as well. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.